Welcome to the What's Up Ready podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts, Mattson,
better read than dead,
and Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Tell a lot of professional sporting people. Tell a pro hockey player, pro golf player, amateur hockey player, amateur golf player.
Oh, your local construction worker.
Yeah, you can tell those guys. Your local moving company too would work. Maybe even an IRS agent. Who knows? But with that, let's jump right in. We're back. Week 4 of comedies that some of us enjoy, or otherwise known as all-time comedy favorites. The final week, closing it out with the classic. We'll jump right in. It's Happy Gilmore. It was released February 16th, 1996. It was written by Tim Herlihy and Adam Sandler. It was directed by Dennis Dugan. Stars Adam Sandler, Christopher McDonald, Julie Bowen, Francis Bay, Carl Weathers, Alan Covert, Robert Smigel, Bob Barker, Richard Keel, and Lee Trevino. It is about a man, and after his grandmother's house is repossessed by the IRS, a bad-tempered hockey player takes his talents to golf to earn the big bucks and get his grandmother's house back.
Is he really a hockey player, though, if he can't skate? Was he ever?
I mean, it's a great question. It's what the core of the film, right? This is a me pick. I get to talk for
let's just let the people know.
Here we go.
This is a me pick. It was a me pick. JJ, I'm going to be nice and let JJ have it. This is me.
It's not a him pick. Just so you know, the way this shit works is I ask for fucking movies to put on the list.
JJ asked, and he already puts his picks in the text for us, so it's cheating.
Not. Yes, dude, I got receipts. I keep all these texts.
I'm going to look back. You altered that shit.
I did not. I always go last. I let you guys pick first, and then I put my names on the list.
And his pants are on fire.
Let us know in the comments who's the liar pants on fire.
I know how to solve this problem. Because at the time when Alec, I sent over this list, Mattson was salty about other picks, and he wanted to piss me off, so he picked off 2 movies that would piss me off. Yeah. That's why this was my pick.
It's all fake information. Alec, I'm a little disappointed when I started rhyming. I thought you were going to continue my rhyme, like in the scene of Happy Gilmore, but you know.
Yeah, I don't have the ability to rhyme. Ever.
Alex, not
whatever. JJ, tell us how you were 32 when you saw this movie and why you like.
Ouch!
I'm gonna kick this dude in the dick.
I was waiting to hear about how
Alec, isn't it true? That's how JJ started. When I was this old, you all young pups, you were just a twinkle in your mom's eye.
I was gonna say I was 15 and you 7. Fuckers were like 5, so you can eat a dick.
I was 5.
I know. I'm 15. Which makes this one of the more formidable movies of my life because I was a young, impressionable teenager when this movie came out, and I laughed my motherfucking ass off for an hour and 30 minutes straight, and I still continue to laugh my motherfucking ass off every time I watch this movie. I've watched this movie. This is one of those movies, Mattson, that if I knew the real number, you'd be like, how the fuck have you done that? Because my cousin Rocky and I, this movie's the reason we started to play golf in the first place ever, and we still, like, he plays golf a lot more than I do these days, but like, yeah, I played a lot of golf, and I started only because of this movie. And hilarious movie. Like, people say to me, like, what's one of your favorite funny movies? This is at or near the top every single time because I laugh at every single part of this movie. Like, it is one of my favorites. It turned me on to Adam Sandler. The problem with Adam Sandler for me, though, is I started getting into, like, his comedy. Like, he's got some comedy CDs, like, and they're weird as fuck. Like, some of the shit's hilarious. Some of it, I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah, all that.
Great shit. And the other one that's really funny is, like, there's one called The Longest Pee. That shit's hilarious.
Oh,
never listened to that?
Yeah.
You should listen to that.
It's been a long time since I've listened to that.
Yeah, so when he first came out, like, with this one and Billy Madison, shit was a little weird, and he got away with it because it was funny and it was off the wall and it was different. And we've talked a lot about him and his like transition and what he's doing now, as far as like he's done a lot of different things. But I go back to this movie, and to me, this is top Adam Sandler, best Adam Sandler movie. So when we talked about all-time comedies, this had to be on the list for me. No questions asked.
Touche for me, dude. It's top 3, easy. If not like my favorite comedy of all time. It's dang hilarious. I'm trying to remember when I first saw this. I've seen this movie enough times, not even close to the whatever psycho number would be for you or probably Alec, but this movie is, if we talk about, I'm like JJ, where if you all listen to us enough, JJ forgets actor names and quotes all the time. I also, not to the extent of JJ. JJ's got a talent for that. It's a special.
Throwing shade after.
Fair.
Yeah, it's shade, but it's also true though. Like,
it's very true.
But this movie, like we talk about movie quotes. If there was some graph I could track my life quoting movie, this is the movie of all movies for me that is quoted the most, 100%, like without a doubt. And man, it's still just, gosh, just so funny. There's so many things I could pick. So the question I want to ask you, Jay, before we get to Alec and his talking about it, if you had to pick, what is the funniest moment in this movie for you? What would it be?
That is so hard. Probably the Bob Barker fight. Like that fight scene to me is like hilarious. The price is wrong, bitch. Like, and then he's walking away. Now you're done, bitch.
I can't believe they got him to do that.
Oh, dude, it's great. Like that scene, I don't know, man. Another one that gets me every time that is so not my normal type of comedy is like the ice skating rink with him and the what's her face. Like, I love that shit too. Like the whole shit. Talk about your all-time backfires. Like, or the moment is like, what? Friends listen to freaking to Endless Love in the Dark. Like, just the weird ass shit. Like that scene makes me laugh. I could go on and on, but I think if I'm picking, it's such a hard. But I think that one or the other one that's right there with the Bob Barker is the the batting cages scene when he takes that one hurt a little bit, but I'm all right. Like,
I just like the end of that when the kid finally does it. You see in the background, he just gets mollywopped.
Yeah. So yeah, there's. Yeah, love that shit.
I bet the Bob Parker thing, did you see this in theaters, Jay?
Oh yeah.
It probably blew your mind when he did that, because he was at like the shit.
Oh yeah. Everybody knew Price is Right, dude. Like they knew Bob Barker.
I mean, for daytime television game show, like The Price is Right is still awesome, but it was amazing. I mean, I tried to stay home from school to watch that.
Yeah, Price is Right was awesome. Playing some Plinko and spin the wheel.
I'd say, like, you being like 15, you see him do that, like, you'd be like, they got Bob Parker to do that? Like, he just said bitch? Like, what?
Oh yeah. Well, he boxed the shit out of that. Like, he's fucking jabbing his ass and like, oh dude, it's so good. And then the tackle scene and they roll down the hill. He fucking headbutts him. Then all of a sudden he reaches up and snatches his throat. Like, it's so good. Comedic gold, dude. Like, it's just, yeah, this old man just whooping the shit out of Happy Gilmore. Yeah, love it.
All right, Alec.
It's the first time I've seen it all the way through.
Shut the fuck up.
Not even
wow.
kidding. I'd seen it
my gosh,
in parts and pieces. So I'd seen the whole movie, but this is the first time I sat through and actually watched it.
Wow.
I was 3 when this came out. And by the time I was getting into like comedies with Adam Sandler and stuff, it was Grown Ups.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I think I watched Billy Madison first, and I didn't really like it so much. But this was one that, we kind of talked last week about movies that popped up on TV when it was still around.
Yeah.
So this is one that was always on. And so I catch it when I caught it.
Always on TV.
But I never have actually sat through and watched it start to finish until today.
Good for you, dude. That's wild.
I loved it.
Oh,
Like I didn't really have like the highest of expectations going in. Because it's one of those that even though like you guys both like it, it's not something that's really gets talked about a whole ton.
yeah.
It gets lumped into Adam Sandler and he did this. Oh, Happy Gilmore this, but it doesn't necessarily, because it happened so long ago, really be the first line. Oh my gosh, you got to watch this.
Yeah.
And so my expectations were, this is going to be like, Adam Sandler just starting to figure stuff out. But holy shit, I was cackling the entire time.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it doesn't fall into the comedic trap of, sacrificing the story for the joke. Like it still has a really good story where if you took the joke out of it, this would be a feel good 90s movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I loved it. I was sitting there giggling the entire time.
Yeah. I'm glad you loved it. I never know with you sometimes. And so I'm always like, well, and I love that you mentioned Billy Madison because that's the one that put Adam Sandler on the map, right? Like it came out and everybody loved it. And it's funny. Don't get me wrong. Like it's another one that I quote quite a bit, like today, Junior, or like, like there's a lot of Billy Madison quotes, but I think, and I saw Billy Madison in the theaters, which is what drove me to see Happy Gilmore. But I think I am not afraid to say that I think Happy Gilmore is Adam Sandler's best movie. Like,
I agree. I'm
front to back, there are very few comedies that I can watch, and there's even fucking Ben Stiller in this is great because it's just the right amount of Ben Stiller.
And I don't villain.
Yeah, and what is it with Ben Stiller and fucking handlebar mustaches? Like, I just can't, like, but like that moment to me, like this was also one of those moments where it's like Ben Stiller to me was still funny because he wasn't Ben Stiller at this point. He was just this guy. And so that moment when he turned it, he said, I can help you do a warm glass of shut the hell up. You're like, wait, what? You will go to sleep or I will put you to sleep. Like, and then
Archie Crafts got extended by 4 hours today.
Yeah. Oh, your fingers hurt? Well, now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty. Like it's just enough Ben Stiller for me to be okay with him. But yeah, like there is not a piece of this movie that I don't just thoroughly enjoy. Like I laugh. I don't. There's a lot of movies, and when I've watched them a few times, like I want to skip. Like I have some parts where I'm like hit that 10-second button a couple times, and it skips past. I rewind this movie. Like I hit the 10-second back of it. I gotta watch that joke again. Like when he pulls the cans out of the garbage and he's hockey sticking them with Chubbs and he hits his hand. That's so dumb, but it's so great. Oh, it's sturdy, made out of wood. Crunch. And then he's got the I love you symbol for half the movie. Like I just can't even. The movie is hilarious. And front to back, like by far Adam Sandler's best movie. Just pure comedic genius the whole way through.
This time around, watching the guy that I really appreciated, was two people. I'll talk about the lesser known one. Who's the Kevin Naleon, like Gary Potter, his like tour companion at the beginning, the one that talks about like the energy of the ball, like his stuff, dude. This time around, like he got to be what he did. And if you're on Patreon, you'll hear me talk about a lot about this. But when he's talking about the energy of the ball, he's like, Happy, the ball wants to go home. The bags are packed. It's at the airport. Just send him home. Like, wants to go home. Send him home. And then he walks. He's like, "Let's go home, there, ball." He tries to get it, and he's like, you just see him get mad because he like it takes him like 3 hits to do that, and then like later on, like when he gets mad at one of the tournaments because Shooter McGavin's got the jackass guy, he's like, "Just go home, ball."
I love the beginning of that when he comes in and he's going off on it's like a circle and he's just going off and off, and then he gets done and Adam Sandler's like psycho. and then he swings and misses and loses his shit, and then that guy Kevin Nealon was like psycho. That cyclical comedy in this movie is great. Like the callbacks to each other's jokes.
Yeah.
And
So
the
I love
different
the
takes.
Gary
Yeah.
Potter character, but the dude that like this movie would not be the same. Christopher McDonald in this movie
Oh
is
yeah.
awesome. Like he plays. Yeah, we have like the Ben Stiller villain, but it's like a bit character. But Christopher McDonald just kills it because he's like a different type of humor, and he's trying to be more serious. But you need someone like him to be that anchor. I can't imagine him. Like he just like I just really appreciated him this time because I've always when I was growing up watching this on TV and I always gravitated toward Adam Sandler like everybody does, but this time around I was like, damn, he killed that. Like, and it worked in the perfect way. And I was really impressed.
Yeah. He's great. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of
shit for breakfast? Oh, I think that's one of the things that, like, for me with this movie is like those back and forth moments, like the callbacks to certain things, like the whole Psycho thing, and then like the keep coming back, like the Mista lady, like when she jumps on the car the first time, get me out of here, and he reaches through the weird sunroof or the window and dumps all the food on the here, eat that, and then like he's like smacking the air conditioner. Hey, you remember that Mista lady? I think I just killed her. Like, there's just these little bit running gags that are just intermingled in the story, and then but they're just short and they're just enough to make you remember, oh, this is fucking funny and these people are wackadoo, man. And then the other piece that gets me with this that I think is just pure raw genius that you don't see in very many movies that I can think of is the background shit. So you'll have a scene. So the one I think of the most with this is like when at the end of his first run on tour, and he's been running everywhere, and he's in there, the PR lady's in with the head of the head guy, and he's like pointing at the TV because he's yelling, "You cock-sucking piece of shit," like just going off on the ball, "Suck my balls, ball," or whatever it is. And then like all you hear is they're having this full-on conversation, and in the background you just hear beep, beep, and you can just hear it just a little bit. And then like at certain moments you'll suck my ass, ball, and then like just these things are shouted out. And it happens a couple of times where there's a scene that's pretty serious and it's pretty impactful to the plot, and there's this weird background noise going on that if you listen to that, it's fucking hilarious. And so like the little things that you can catch, to your point, Mattson, where you were noticing McDonald's performance in this, like that catch you. There's things in this movie that every time I watch it, I'm like, that's such subtle genius. Like for me, another one that gets me every time is the caddy, the guy that's in all of Adam Sandler's movies that you wouldn't recognize unless he shaves the beard off. But he's in this movie and he's the caddy, and he's like, you see him doing things like washing his underwear in the ball washer, and then he's like taking a bath in the pond. Like how.
No, best one is when he
shit.
steals the quarter, and then the next time he has a cracker that he just eats.
Yeah. Like,
I love that.
Seriously, like how genius is that shit though? Like he takes this dude off the street, like this homeless dude off the street trying to wash windows, gives him a way to make money, and you get to see like not unbelievable things that are happening to this guy. Like, nah, man, it's just because you don't have one shoe on. Oh, yeah. It just, I love the subtle, because there's so much in your face comedy with this, but it's the subtle comedy that I find the best. And all of it's funny to me, but that's the best part, is that subtle, dry, quick hit humor. Absolutely love it. Absolutely. Some of the best shit ever.
It's also, like we talked last week a little bit about Dodgeball having a cultural effect. So I don't know if you guys have it out there, but here in Arizona, we have quite a few Topgolfs.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, every like 10 to 15 minutes over the loudspeaker, stop doing the Happy Gilmore. Because you get people who go to the drive range, and the first thing they do is they're trying out the Happy Gilmore. So
I do it
Yep.
every fucking time I go to the driving range, except for Top Golf, because they do get mad. Because somebody tried to do that and fell into the net
yeah.
Yeah.
and almost
AJ,
fell
can
off.
you
the
even
fucking...
do that stuff now with your back?
I can swing. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done it since it got bad before this previous surgery. So it's probably been a year and a half since I've swung a golf club. So I don't know anymore. But I used to play through some pain to play golf. I used to play a shit ton of golf. Like when I was selling cars, I played a lot of golf. Like probably every other day played some golf in some way, shape, or form.
Obviously,
But
time-consuming hobby.
I love it. That is it's so nice. Like I would rather go spend 4 hours playing golf than doing a lot of things. Like if you got friends to go with, like I don't want to go by myself. Like that sucks. But like my brother-in-law and I used to go, and then
Would you pick it over card game tournament?
I would.
Oh, wow. That tells me a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Because I also like the physical aspect of it too. Because like it's not like it's a physical sport, obviously, but I mean it's something that anybody could play as long as you have some level.
I love the driving range or like chip and putt because to me it just takes playing 18 holes is way too long. But man, a good chip and putt or driving range session because I grew up golfing with my dad. Like I used to do par threes and hit the range and do all that a lot. I liked, but then other sports took precedence. But I like those aspects of it quite a bit. It's just the other things that take a long time, and I prefer to watch football or do other things. But golf's fun.
Yeah, we used to go on Saturdays. My cousin Rocky and I, who used to watch this movie all the time, that got us into golf. Like we would go on Saturdays and we'd have our little radio. We'd listen to college football while we were playing golf. And then as I got older, I was like, there's a few sports in life. Like I've always played sport, basketball, baseball, football. Like I played all those physical sports. There's a couple of sports that as an adult, I really love. And golf, bowling. If I can play a sport and drink alcohol or have some Mary Jane, or have some other recreational activity on top of my recreational activity, that's my kind of sport. If I can be out of shape and kind of fat and still fucking play the shit, that's my kind of sport as an adult. So I really got into, like I said, as an adult when I was selling cars, when I was doing other things, like golf for me was, and there's a social aspect that I liked for golf too, because we'd get a nice foursome going and we'd drive down and we'd swap carts and shit and hang out. Like, so it gave me a chance to like hang out, and we'd have some really wholesome, okay, not wholesome, that's the wrong word, but some really good conversations between friends. And one of my great memories, I don't know if you've ever done it, Mattson, but sometimes one golf course up here will do a night tournament every year. So you get glow in the dark balls, and then they hang like glow sticks from the flags at every hole. And you only play 9 holes, but it's fun as fuck. And I went with my brother-in-law, one of my brothers-in-law, my father-in-law. And so like one of the most meaningful conversations I've ever had with my father-in-law took place on a golf cart driving around in the middle of the night, hoping we didn't run into an electrical fucking box that was sticking because you couldn't see shit. But yeah, it was a great time. So I think that's one of the aspects that I learned to love about it is I'm not a good golfer, but it's a good way to pass the time. And if you have the right group that you're with, I'm okay with the time frame.
Yeah. 2 last things I wanted to say about the movie, or at least what's coming to mind, is last weekend we talked about dodgeball and having 2 iconic announcers. What I liked about this movie is they used real golf announcers. Like that I thought was genius because there was so much satire going on, and they wanted to make this believable enough that this hockey underdog could be a golfer. I really liked the serious nature of them talking about something that was so funny, but still like, I was like, I'm watching the Golf Channel right now. Like this is so on brand. I really appreciated that. And then the other thing that I love every time I see this movie is just the first time you see him hit the ball, the sound that they decided when he just launches that, and the camera angle, just I'm like, he hit that like 500 miles an hour. Like it looked like in the way when it hits like next to the green I'm like, it looked like he hit that thing like a par 900 or something. I'm like, dude, par. They were like, well, I got a hole on a par 4. I'm like, dude, that was like a par 12 the way he hit that thing. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, I love that they use it no matter what shot he's taking too. Like Like there's the one in the final match where they're like 6 feet from the green.
Yeah.
And he still steps into it and swings full on.
No, I'm glad you brought it. I told Tay, I was like, if he swung like that, I'm like, that thing, whether he's hitting it hard or not, that thing is gone off his pitching. Well, like, that's gone.
Yeah. I've got a club that it's my favorite club in my bag that we called the cheddar wedge. It's like a 60-degree wedge or a 54-degree wedge. I don't remember. But it's like, it's almost flat. Like if I lay it on the ground, like it lays like, so it just gets under the ball. It's not meant to go any kind of distance.
Touch the ball,
dude. Well, that's the thing. If I swing, like I've played that club, and it's like a 90-yard at best club, and I mean I gotta swing out of my fucking shoes to get it to go 70 to 90 yards, and I gotta hit. Like I said, I gotta hit the fuck out of it with it to get it to go that far. I'm usually swinging it when I'm 20, 30 yards out at most. So, but if I swing till like, and I'm a big dude and I can put some power behind the club. So when I swing, even if I connect like juicy, perfect swing, it goes 150 feet in the air, you know, because of how flat it is. Like when he swings that, he's got like 3 clubs. He doesn't have a cheddar wedge in there, dude. Like this dude's got like a pitching wedge and 2 drivers and a putter. What the fuck is he swinging from 3 feet from the green? Somebody's closer. Yeah, if you're playing the hole next door, like, but they still use the same rocket ship sound. Like the exploding golf ball sound. I love that part too. That and then Lee Trevino that just keeps popping up throughout the movies. Like, Grizzly Adams did have a beard. He like shakes his head when he flings or breaks the club.
JJ, I want to go back to 15-year-old JJ.
Yeah.
The PR chick. Did you have a crush on her?
Julie Bowen?
Yeah, Julie Bowen.
Dude, I still have a crush on Julie Bowen. Like, I watched, what's the TV show she's in?
Family.
Modern Family.
Modern Family, yeah.
Not a huge fan of the show. Like, it's okay, but I watched it because Julie Bowen's in it. And then they're doing Happy Gilmore too. Like, they're in the process of doing it. And I was like, when I heard that. But then they said Julie Bowen's coming back. And I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, she's back. Christopher McDonald, Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller, like.
Well, the way it kind of got triggered to see if it was popular, and I think it was an actual PR stunt to see if there was some interest in it, was Happy Gilmore or like Adam Sandler like did like there was a video that they put on X or whatever of him doing the Happy Gilmore swing, and then Christopher McDonald retweeted it and then put something as Shooter McGavin, like, and then it was this like back and forth a little bit. And then like a couple weeks later, they're like, yeah, we're going to do Happy Gilmore too. So yeah,
I am worried that it's going to be terrible.
Sure.
Like most things are many years later that don't capture the magic again. I mean, I'd probably try to save you from yourself a little bit, JJ, that I don't think it'll have that nostalgia. I just don't know. That's a long time since it's going to be like almost 20 years, basically.
Almost 30.
Oh, 30.
It came out in 96, dude. Almost 30. In fact, it'll be because it's coming out next year, so it'll be 29 years. So, tell me about it. Fucking old pricks. I was 15 when that fucker came out.
It's gonna be one of those movies that I'm not gonna, as we talked about when our last couple episodes, I'm probably not gonna go see it in theaters, but I will watch it when it comes.
I don't think it's coming out in theaters. I think it's gonna be a Netflix drop.
Netflix, okay.
And maybe they'll do like some release in theaters.
Release, yeah.
I'm not gonna go see it in theaters most likely because I don't go see much in theaters these days. But I will watch it, and I'm gonna have the lowest of low expectations. And part of that is, and we'll get a little philosophical here, but the one problem that I run into a lot with comedians in general, and you see this, I mean, there's a lot of examples of this, and comedians are tough because when they're young and they're new on the scene, like Adam Sandler with Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, they're not afraid to do shit because they have nothing to lose, right? So they go all out. You can watch that with almost any Jim Carrey, like go back and watch almost any major comedian, especially the shock comedians, the ones that are like out there a little bit and do some crazy shit. when they're young and first on the scene, they have absolutely nothing to lose, so they'll just do whatever.
Let me I'm agreeing with that. Let me add one, because I think I've talked about this. The one thing I want to add to what you're going to say is, while they're young and starting their career, because they're poor and they're around like the normal people and like where the humor actually comes from, I've just found the richer a comedian gets, the less funny I feel like they become, because they become out of touch with the reality most of the time. That's where like a Dave Chappelle is like the asterisk, because he's still been funny, but everyone else I feel like is just like diminishing returns. Anyways, keep going.
But to your point, though, Dave Chappelle, too, like if you've watched his modern, he's still shocking. But this is my point. You get two problems with comedians. And one is they either become afraid to lose what they have, which I think I don't think Adam Sandler's that in that camp, because he still does some outrageous shit in some of his movies. But I think there are some comedians that are like, I can't do that because then I won't get as much views, whatever. Then you have the others that these comedians mature. They're very young. They're immature. They're not afraid to do things. And they'll do things that are funny to young, immature, stupid people, right? Because all of us are a little dumb when we're kids. But then as they get older, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, they start to mature and the comedy changes. And this happened with Adam Sandler. Like when I look at Adam Sandler's movies as they progressed, you can watch his maturity level change. So you have the first handful of movies were like this one, like nothing was off limits. Stories were really good regardless, but it was a little different. But then you start getting into things like Big Daddy, where there has to be a level of maturity for you to really get into the story and understand like where that comes from. And a lot of the comedy is based on adult humor. Then you get into Grown-Ups, and that's just full on and like go with it. Like all of those movies, the older you get, well, the problem is you start, as your level of comedy matures, your audience diminishes, because the adult comedy is a very different comedy. You're going to lose your kids because they're not going to understand a lot of that comedy. They might laugh because their parents are laughing, but everybody laughs at Happy Gilmore, right? So it's one of those things. Now, I'm with you. Like, I think there are a level of comedic that they get out of touch because they're living in this very different world than reality. I always point to like Jon Stewart in that case. Like, but I think and I say that too about Dave Chappelle, like his comedy matured quite a bit. He's still not afraid to go there, but he does it in a very political way, not trying to make a point, but like trying to actually show you that the politics and the things that we're all offended by is really fucking stupid. You can still laugh at shit, but like to me, it's interesting to watch that maturity level. But I think no matter what you do, as a comedian, when you hit that higher level of mature comedy, you lose a certain aspect of your audience that's going to find shit really, really funny no matter what you do, like those early films. So I think that whole evolution of comedy throughout a comedian's career, you also get most of them that end up doing, like we've talked about, some drama stuff. Adam Sandler, again, you go back, if you've ever watched any of his dramatic roles, damn, he's good. Like Spanglish, and there's another one that I can't think that had to do with the Twin Towers.
There's a basketball one he was in recently I really liked.
Dude, what the one where he was he was like you talking about the one where he did the pawn shop thing or whatever?
Not that one too, but no,
That
he's like a basketball.
Oh, he's a basketball agent. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I like that movie.
Yeah, he's got some great dramatic chops too. Like even Funny People, you wouldn't think that's a non-funny movie, but it's not really a funny movie. It's a pretty heavy movie. Why can I not think? Anyway, I'll think of the name of the movie. It's one of Casey's favorites, but yeah. So I think anyway, the evolution of comedians is always very interesting to me, and Adam Sandler's no different. But I say all that to say that I will watch Happy Gilmore 2 with a grain of salt and hope that my low expectations makes it funnier than it probably will be.
I want it to be good. I just say it because everything that they've done like this, I'm trying to think what has worked out that's been so far removed from the beginning. That's actually been remotely like where it's been so long since we talked about. What do you consider like Bill and Ted 3, JJ? Like, is it even? Because that was a movie that was similar to it been so long.
Yeah, I think that, and to your point, we've talked about this too. I think things like that rely on the nostalgia effect. Because look, I laughed my ass off at Bill and Ted 3. I think it's Face the Music is funny. I think it stands alone and is pretty funny. And is one of the more, in my opinion, successful attempts at coming back 30 years later and making a movie. but it still doesn't hold a candle to the first one. Yeah, Excellent Adventure is one of the smartest comedies ever made, in my opinion. Like,
what I have a hard time with is like, as we talk about Hollywood in the same vein, like just because you can make, it's all about money now and bringing something back that they know will get people watch. Like sometimes it's like, let's just leave it. Like it was good, but this is a movie that's never meant to have like a sequel. It wasn't.
yeah,
I just, that's right. Like just because we can doesn't mean we should. But that's where Hollywood's at. And like to me, this is just like, is it cool that it's coming out? Sure. Am I gonna watch it? Probably. But I could do without it at the same time. Like it's fine. It could just be what it was, and that's great.
absolutely. I would be perfect. In fact, I'd probably be more happy if they didn't make it, because this is one of those movies that I can go back to and rewatch, and I don't need a sequel. I think there are aspects, like if there are certain films, like series that it's worked for, like I think right off the top of my head, like Rocky, like Rocky 5 was terrible. Let's
Oh
just
my
be
gosh.
honest. Like Rocky 5 was one of the worst movies ever made. But if you erase that and then you watch Rocky Balboa, which was the next one that was in his line, right? That one was actually a pretty good movie.
But what I'm getting at is, didn't they make the Rocky movies knowing they were probably going to make another like right away, or they didn't know that? Is what we're saying.
So Rocky 5, after it bombed and was just terrible, that he was done.
Yeah.
And then as he got older, like he got back into writing.
Oh, sorry. I get what
and
you're
stuff like that.
talking about with the timing. I'm forgetting what
No,
we're saying.
yeah. For him, it was like 20. I mean, God, it was a long time later that he made Rocky Balboa. And I thought that was really good. I thought it actually continued the story and made a really good point. And like, but I'm with you. Like, I think everything after that, I think they can go too far, but I think there have been successful. I can't think of a comedy where it's worked.
I just think like the Rocky movies, they had already made multiple ones, so for them to do another where it continued,
Sure.
it made sense. Like this one just feels like they're pulling this out of thin air. But again, it could work. It could be fun. I just, as we talked, I just miss the originality of like, what's the new Happy Gilmore in 2024? Like, where is that? And like we talked about, there's reasons why comedy is not what it is anymore. If you listened to us a couple weeks ago, and I think that's what I'm getting at. I just miss, where's the courage to do new instead of do something that worked 30 years ago, but do we need it now 30 years later? I don't know.
Yeah. I think especially in comedy that it's a double level of cowardice, because nobody wants to lose money, especially in the environment that we live in right now. Like if it's not going to make money, they're not making it.
Yeah.
And or it's going straight to streaming, which is why this one, because there's probably no confidence that this would be a blockbuster part 2. Like, and so it's an easy fix to put it on Netflix, because all they need to do is have people, one or a handful of people sign up for a new subscription in order to watch it, and it's successful for them, right? But I also think, in the level of offending and, very soft people that we live in the world of today, where everybody's offended by looking at their own reflection in the mirror half the time, like it's hard to make comedies.
Because I think this movie could be really funny. You have to think about it. If they lean into what 2025, 2024, let's just say, because that's when they're filming it, like what the world is now, there's so much you could make fun of, and what they put in the golf course around there, the people, the type of people, what they are wearing, what they were saying. And if you did that now, like I could see that being really funny, because like, oh my gosh, like they went there, they did that. But we already know, Jay, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
Probably not. I would love to see like the reverse of what we see in Happy Gilmore, right? Where he's like been for 20 years, he was the most popular golfer on the planet, and now he's too offensive. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody gets their feelings hurt over the littlest shit, so now he's too offensive, and so nobody likes him. And
so unfortunately, it sounds like they're not going to do it. So this is what Ben Stiller said just like 2 days ago. He said on Travis Kelce, the Kelce Brothers podcast, the football players, he said the movie itself picks up from an older guy who played golf a long time. Some stuff goes on in his life, and he's different. He's a bit of a mess, and then we try to get his life cooking again. So I guess you could say, well, maybe the bit of a mess is what you're saying, but I think I feel like it's going to be another like underdog story, and kind of building him up where he's at again. Because I do agree, like what if he became like the new shooter in a sense or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, like,
Yeah, that shit would be hilarious. Like, and
and then
shooters
Shooter
like
comes
on the
back and
rise.
like,
Like, yeah.
or, yeah, it could be like in the senior tour or something like that. I don't know. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
Well,
shit would
maybe
be
we should go
hilarious.
save Ben Stiller and Adam.
I'm
We should
telling
call
you.
him up.
I'm
Listen to
telling
us.
you. If only they would. All right, let's rate this thing. Man, it's been a while since I've gone first. I don't know what the fuck to do with myself. I'm giving this movie a 5, fuckers. This thing is perfect. I as of all the movies that we've rated over the last 5 years, that's crazy to say. 300 some odd ratings, and this to me is the epitome, like the closest to perfect as you can get. So it's this to me. There, I will never not watch this movie and enjoy myself. And I think there's not a moment in it that I'm bored, that I'm not, even as many times as I've seen it, like I look forward to every single second of this movie every time I watch it. I can pick it up in any minute, watch any second of it, stop watching it, come back, watch it. I can watch the whole thing sitting through. Yeah, this is a 5 for me. I think it's probably the new benchmark of 5s for me. Yeah, definitely would watch it anytime, any place. No questions asked, as many times as anybody wants to watch it. Love this movie. It is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, we can't be friends until you go watch it. So I'm glad you actually watched it all the way through, Alec.
Hooray, we can be friends now.
Yeah,
I've waited so long.
exactly. Especially the way you talk about me at the end of every episode these days. So, all right, Mattson, your turn.
I'll be quick. 5.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. That was the shortest review we've ever had in 5 years. I like it.
I'll be the odd man out. I'm giving it a 4. I think it was great. I don't have the added nostalgia factor that you guys do to carry over. And so there were parts where I was just a little bit lost or couldn't get into. And that's just probably because the movie was made 30 years ago at this point almost. And it's changed, right? The environment of everything has changed. So I don't have the nostalgia to fall back on. But it doesn't change the fact that it's a great watch. And there's plenty in there to actually enjoy without having to need every second of it. There's plenty in there. So yeah, 4 for me. We'll watch it again.
Alec, you can count on me finding you in the parking lot.
Dude, let's go.
Can I just tell you what a great performance? Like the friggin' Lurch, like when he's like talking shit and he's like, Happy Gilmore did that to not more than an hour ago. And he's like, well, you can turn it. Oh my God. Already chasing him at the end. Love it. That's it's Mr. Gilmore's jacket. Sorry, I love it. That, and then like the line that Casey and I still use, like, hey Shooter, you want to go down to Sizzler and get some grub? Like, we do that one all the time too. Just let Red Lobster down the road. Love it. So many quotable things in this movie. All right, Alec, tell everybody where they can find us.
Thank you for tuning in to our review of Happy Gilmore. This is week 4 and the final week of all-time comedy some of us enjoy since we changed the title midway through. This is, that's the 4th one. So the last one, thank goodness, because I don't want to have to say this very much anymore. Special shout out and thank you to our patrons. Richard, Mel Brooks, and JJ's Mammoth Tasty Footlong.
Which is appropriate for this movie.
This is appropriate for this movie, but still.
Subway.
Not a sponsor.
No, not a sponsor. But what did you think of our verdict of Happy Gilmore? Do you agree? Is this an all-time favorite for you as well? Perfect movie. Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to get more involved with the content of the podcast, join us on Patreon at What's Our Verdict Reviews. That's the best place to get involved. We put out monthly topics to vote on each month. And then with that, there are also monthly picks that we supply that fit into said topic. So that way you can enjoy a little bit more of a hand in the content, and you get to make a funny name that I have to say, and is JJ's new favorite thing of the podcast. With that, I will kick it back to the Titan of Terror, the Colossus of Clout, JJ.
Good stuff. In fact, I just posted our next video like vote. So
Woo!
go ahead and vote. Check it out. Not sure why it's coming up weird in the posting, but yeah, there it is. Go vote. Tell us what you want to see. Looking forward to it. And with that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!